What's going on, everybody? Sabu here from Embrace Variance, a plus EV decision, and today I got something special for you. I'm going to be breaking down a hand played by Tom Dwan and Garrett Adelstein. And just so everybody knows, and so I get that out there right away, I am not qualified to judge Garrett Adelstein and Tom Dwan on their decisions when they are playing for millions of dollars. Let me just say that right now. That's not what I'm here to do. I am not here to give criticism. I'm not here to give praise, although you guys may hear me fanboy a little bit in this because these are two of my favorite players of all time. So I may fanboy and I may give praise, but you're not going to hear me give criticism because I don't know what it's like to play for $1 million. I don't know what it's like to play a $500,000 pot. Therefore, you're not going to hear me speaking about criticisms toward the hand. What you're going to hear me talking about is what I believe the thoughts of a crusher poker mindset is, and what I think that they're thinking in the middle of the hand to the best of my own ability. So that's the purpose of this, and to kind of break it down for the everyday viewer who may not understand why some of these humongous crushers are making the decisions that they are. So that is the purpose for this video. Just wanted to get that out right away. But again, let's get into this hand. This is a really cool one. Alright guys, so the way that this starts is this game is 500, 1,000 with a $1,000 big blind ante. So what's going to happen here is Minion, I believe his name is, from early position is going to open a 3K. It's going to fold to Adelstein, who actually puts in the call. So I believe Adelstein calls here for a couple reasons. He wants to let some other players behind him maybe come in. The suited aces actually play well as a call. You don't need a 3-bet, especially the ones that don't make the wheel straight. And so he decides to call with ace-6 suited here. And then it gets over to Dwan on the button, who has a really prime squeeze spot here with ace-jack offsuit. So Dwan squeezes pretty big here. He goes to 15K. And he's trying to basically remove Garrett out of the pot and play a pot heads up in position with Minion. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that guy's name. So he's trying to remove Garrett from the pot and get heads up in position against a weaker player than somebody other than Garrett Adelstein. So that's what I believe Tom is doing there. Minion actually ends up making the call here. So when it gets back to Garrett, he's never going to fold the suited ace here. Garrett's in there with a ton of different junk, and he's so much fun to watch play poker. I mean, all these guys are. That's so much fun. So the flop comes King 6-5 with 2 clubs. Now, this flop is pretty interesting for a couple different reasons. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds with like poker theory or anything like that, but king high boards are usually better for the pre-flop raiser. There's more ace-king, there's more kings, there's more king-queen suited, whereas the other guys might 4-bet some of that stuff at some frequency, so king-high boards are usually good. However, this is a very connected board with the 6-5 coming into play. But these guys are playing such high stakes at this point that they're almost at a leveling war with each other all the time. Like, Tom knows that he could continue with 7-8. He could continue with king 6, king 5. These hands are all in Garrett's range. But Tom also knows, since he is continuing that wide, that Garrett and Minion also have a ton of junk. So Tom actually ends up going big by going 25K here. So I think Tom is sizing up here to fold out all of that junk, charge the draws, and potentially be able to bluff off maybe a better hand in later streets. That's the way that I would think about it anyway, especially when I don't have the backdoor. So Minion ends up folding, and Garrett sticks in the call with his second pair. And to a lot of low-stakes players, this may look like a massive punt, because at low stakes, you're not defending second and third pair as much as you are when you're playing in higher stakes and people are playing a more balanced approach. When people are playing more balanced, you have to defend much wider, because if you don't, you're going to get ran over. So this is a very easy defend with second pair for Garrett here. To some people that might look crazy, but it is absolutely a slam dunk defend against Tom Dwan. And the turn is a very interesting one. It is the 7 of clubs. So what does this change here, guys? Take a look at the board. So obviously it brings in the front door flush, right? That's obvious. It brings in 8-9. It could bring in some king 7, maybe some 6-7, maybe some 7-5. These hands are all in range for these guys, because these guys defend a lot of these hands at high stakes. Even in a 3-bet pot, you will see these types of hands defended. So when a nut-changing card comes, a lot of the times as the aggressor, what you're going to see happen is you're either going to go into a check mode or you're going to bet really small to try to induce Garrett to raise his stronger stuff or maybe some of his bluffs if you have the flush, and then continue on with the weaker part of his range. So you're going to see Garrett check here, which I think he would do with flushes, bluffs, pairs, just about anything. And Tom's going to think about it for a second. He's not going to think about it for too long, and he's actually going to end up checking back here, which I think, again, Tom would do with some flushes. He would do with some 2-pair, just so they're not as predictable. And then the river comes, and it's the 10 of clubs. So Garrett still has the best hand at this point, but I want you guys to put yourself in Tom's shoes here. So you get to the river, and you end up with ace high. You have no club in your hand, and there's 4 to a flush on board. A lot of people would check this back thinking that their ace high has some showdown value. And I would argue that ace high is never, ever good here. If Garrett Adelstein, who is one of the best cash game players in the world, is checking down here, he's not checking down with king high. He's not checking down with queen high. He's going to start bluffing those hands. And Tom knows this. Tom knows that his ace high is no good here. So what Tom is going to do is take his ace high and turn it into a bluff, thinking that Garrett has a showdown hand, kind of like the one he does, like the ace 6, the ace 7, you know, the lower pairs. I don't think that he'd be able to get Garrett off of a king necessarily. I think Garrett would call a decent-sized bet on the river here against Tom Dwan with a king, but he's looking to fold out the exact type of hand that he has, the lower showdown type of hands. Pocket 4s, something with a 7, something with a 5, something with a 6, maybe pocket 8s, hands like that he knows that if he bets big enough, should be able to muck in this instance, because the 4 to the clubs on the board, there's a straight out there, there's an overcard, there's a king, so this puts Garrett's showdown value in a really, really miserable spot. But the impressive part about this is that Garrett actually thinks about this for a really long time. Like, I don't know how you're sitting here with, what are we at? 1, 2, 4th pair, 4 clubs on board, no club in your hand. You have ace 6 of diamonds, and you're thinking about calling here. This is what makes Garrett a world-class player, and one of my favorite players is that he's never too quick to make a decision. No matter how irrational it may seem to the outside, he does end up making the fold, but the fact that he sat there and tanked about it is absolutely amazing to me. What a hand.